Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Hello, everybody, and thanks again. Another day, another dollar, another great guest for you guys as we're getting ready and setting the stage for what's going to be a wild 2021 college football season. Going to get to our interview with Georgia Tech head football coach Geoff Collins. Really excited to get him in here, talk about the momentum that they have at Georgia Tech. They got a big year going into year 3. But first, want to give a shout out to our partners at betonline.ag. Head over there today. The online casino is always open, whether it's Major League Baseball, NBA playoffs, anything that's going on, whether you want to bet the parlays, bet a pleaser, bet a teaser, bet a single, you need to head over to betonline.ag today and tell them that Jboy sent you. Also, the sign-up bonuses are awesome. Catch them while you can, and they're going to play the Sharps. That's betonline.ag. Tell them that Jboy sent you, as I said. But moving into my monologue today, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. And it's something that, you know, a lot of people understand. Some casual fans, I think, may not to a certain extent. And it's that there's different styles of head coaches, whether you're a CEO type that may not get super involved in the X's and O's. I mean, you think of guys like Tommy Tuberville, Ed Orgeron. There's plenty of examples of that, and that works. Then you have coaches that are more hands-on. You know, the Nick Sabans, Hugh Freeze, the guy we've had on here that says, listen, he's the OC, basically. He's sitting in all the offensive meetings, this, that, and the other. And that works. But there's a common denominator between all these coaches for this to work. And people say, oh, well, you know, micromanaging this, that, and the other doesn't work. It can really be a detriment to you if you don't do it the right way. But there's one common denominator. They let their coaches coach. And that has a domino effect that you don't really see unless you're inside the building, on the staff, on the team, the support staff, or whatever. You can be hands-on. You can basically be in charge of one side of the ball when really you're in charge of the whole program, but you still have to let your coaches coach. I mean, you look at Nick Saban in Alabama. We know he is the defensive mastermind, the total mastermind, but specifically the defensive mastermind, but he lets his defensive coordinators coach. He lets Pete Golding coach. He lets the offensive guys coach. He lets them be themselves, all within the realm of keeping the identity, keeping the accountability, and stuff like that. You look at coaches that are more CEOs. I mean, you heard Ed Orgeron, and listen, I don't recommend this, but he really just let Bo Pelini just come in without really an interview and let him do his thing. Now, that didn't work out, but in many cases, in more cases than not, letting your coaches coach makes not only your team better, but it makes your locker room better. You say, how does that make your locker room better? The players see everything. They understand everything. They know the way that things move. If you don't let your coaches coach, they may not show it outright, but they lose a little respect for that coach, thinking that, well, maybe he really doesn't know everything that we think he knows. By letting him coach, by letting him be himself, all within the realm of what you want your identity and the culture of your program and organization to be, it lets the players know this guy's legit. If the head man believes in this man, why would I not believe in that man? Because I signed to play for the head coach. Yeah, I talked to the coordinators and the position coaches and stuff like that, but he is the guy running the program. He is the guy that they look to through good, through bad, through indifferent. He's a guy that when there's not an answer to a question that the players can answer, they look to the head coach to be able to make that play. They look to the head coach to hold people accountable, not only the players, but the coaches. So by letting your coaches coach, you send a message to the team that we really are all in this together. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes you got to pull the rein back because you got to coach your coaches. You hear a lot of head coaches talking about coaching the coaches, and we hear about this coaching tree, and this guy goes there, and this guy goes there. That doesn't mean that assistant, when he becomes a head coach, is going to be just like the head coach that he worked for, that he got the most from. But you're preparing them to maybe even take just a slice of it. Because if I'm at a place, we always talk about Nick Saban and the rehabilitation coaching clinic that he's running at Alabama. You look at Steve Sarkisian, you look at Lane Kiffin, these guys that have been under him that branched out, they're not exactly like Nick Saban, but they took a lot of what they learned from him, the blueprint, the structure, the sequencing, call it the process, whatever. And even if you take slices of that and mold it into who you are, isn't that what learning on the job is? Isn't that what anybody does in any job when you become the boss? You take little bits of what you learned from previous bosses, good, bad, or indifferent. So it's huge to let coaches coach, regardless if you're more hands-on, if you're the more CEO type. Letting your coaches coach is the common denominator. And different styles work, but that's something that I don't think will ever change, whether it's in college or the NFL. Let's get to Geoff Collins, head coach of Georgia Tech. Let's win the water cooler. All right, hello, everybody. Excited to get Coach Geoff Collins from the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. Excited to get him on. Got a brand new helmet. They splashed us with some gear. Going to throw a tweet out about that. What they're doing going into year 3, a lot of positive momentum. The city of Atlanta is buzzing about what's going on there and kind of the transition that they've made from an earlier area. And Coach Collins, man, I'm excited to get you on, dude.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, man. Todd Stansberry sent me a couple of weeks ago with you. And so anything I can do to help you guys and to talk about our great players that we got here in Atlanta, I'm all for it.
Definitely. And I want to start right there and shout out Todd Stansberry and shout out Mike Flynn as well, a guy that was able to get us some stuff. And you know what I've noticed, Coach Collins, since you've been at Georgia Tech, not only you, but your staff, really the innovativeness that you guys have coming up with new things, whether it's in the recruiting realm, video realm, you're always putting out something new. You're always putting out something fresh. Is that something when you took the job that was a big marker? Because we all know how important that is today in recruiting, to get your name out there, to get your brand out there and offer something that everybody else isn't offering.
Well, I mean, I think that's part of our DNA. We've got a young, innovative, technologically savvy staff that's got a lot of energy, got a lot of juice. And so we're always trying to find creative ways to connect with the fan base, connect with our players, connect with recruits. So however we need to do that, we're all in to advance the Yellow Jacket program here in Atlanta. So it's a lot of fun. We got some creative dudes on this staff.
Yeah, and I want to go back to when you took the job, Coach, because, you think about Georgia Tech. I'm going to get to Atlanta and what that can offer. There's so many different things. But how excited were you when you got the call, you got offered the job, and you took it, knowing not the mountain you had to climb, but there were some hurdles you had to get over. But how excited were you to get to Georgia Tech? I know the fan base is thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, I was born 8 miles away in DeKalb Memorial Hospital. I was born and raised on Columbia Drive on the east side of Atlanta. And so this place is special to me. I've worked here and coached here 2 different times. One for George O'Leary, one for Chan Gailey, and to come back and be the head football coach. I mean, it's literally a dream come true. I've had a vision for this place ever since I was a young coach and know what this place can be and what it should be. I was here when we were playing on College game day, downtown Atlanta, under the lights, primetime ball. The show was Georgia Tech football. We had every superstar on the sideline. And that's the brand of Georgia Tech that I know, playing for championship, playing on New Year's Day bowl games, and just being the talk of the city, the talk of the Southeast, the talk of college football. And, just to be back here and get us back into those conversations means a lot to me because I've lived it. Yeah. I know what we've done here, and we've recruited at a really, really high level. And you alluded to our strength coach before we got on. Our strength coach, what he's doing with our team, with the culture and the development and the size and the speed and the togetherness, it's really setting up to be something special.
Yeah, and that video they put out with him on social media the other day, like I was telling you, it got me fired up coming on the way to work. And that's what I want to ask you about, Coach. Going into year 3, you get there and you try and establish an identity. And it takes a couple cycles, especially when you're converting from a triple option to what you guys are doing. And I'm going to ask you about that because I don't think people understand just really how difficult that is to really have to change your roster, not only coming in, but having to convert the offense as well. But your identity as a team, when people play Georgia Tech and people watch Georgia Tech, what do you want them to say? What do you want them to think? What is your team's identity, or what do you want it to be when the product is finished?
Yep. So one of the biggest things now that we're going into year 3, we've had a different mindset and things that we had to benchmarks that we had to accomplish in each year and establish. But right now, whenever you turn on the tape or you turn on TV this year in 2021, you should see a team that is relentless, that they fly around, they keep coming, they keep playing, they keep battling. They play ridiculously hard all the time. They are focused. They are communicating with each other. They know the calls. They know the plays that we're running. They're communicating with each other. They're dialed in on the situation, make smart decisions pre-snap, smart decisions post-snap. And then we are together. We are playing together. We're playing as one. It's not a collection of position groups out there. It is one Georgia Tech football team out there playing together. That's what we talked about the entire offseason, focusing on what's important now in every decision we make, in every situation we're put in, off the field, on the field, in practice, in games. And that is 24 hours a day, our coaching staff, our strength staff, our leadership committee. Those are the four things that we've talked about since we got back here early January.
Yeah, and again, those are pillars that any team that wants to sustain success, because, you know, there's some one-offs. Teams have one-offs. We see it all the time. But to be able to continue that success and sustain that success, something we talk about on the show all the time, is the culture and the foundation. And it starts in the weight room. And it's because that's a guy, and a lot of people don't realize, that spends most of the time with the players, one of the most important hires that you can make. And Coach, looking at your roster and having to convert it, like I said, from a team that was running the triple option, listen, nothing wrong with that, whatever. I almost tell people it's harder to win off the field than it is on the field. You know schemes, you know X's and O's from here and out. It's what we do. We get on the board and we talk about it and figure it out. But is it a bigger challenge to get a team prepared off the field? Because we all know what translates off the field is going to translate on the field. Or is it harder to get a team prepared schematically on the field? Just your opinion on that.
Yeah, so the big thing is the cultural piece for us. And Lou Corral, our head strength coach, anybody that's not following on social media is missing out. But he is pouring that message into our guys 24 hours a day. We are a culture that's built on effort. We give effort in every single thing that we do. Competition is king around this program, just like it is on the Jboy Show.
You daggone right.
And act and carry ourselves with relentless positive energy. We're going to have some juice about ourselves. We're going to have a positive vibe. Yeah. We're going to have a positive outlook on what we're building. And the guys buy into it. The guys attack every single thing they do at a ridiculously high level. And it's right to the point that it's about to take off. So I'm just excited to be around these guys. The recruiting is at a high level. Biggest thing for us is the development. And guys coming in every single day and working to be a team, to get better at their craft, to get better every single phase of their lives is important to us, and our guys are doing that right now.
I agree 100% with you. And you talk about recruiting, and we have big-time recruits on the show. We're about to start doing our recruiting roundup every Wednesday, as we used to do as we kind of push toward the season. Now that recruiting is open and kind of back to normal, I know you guys are loving that and have guys on campus and are able to see guys in person, which is so huge. But, Coach, you know, talking about recruiting, yeah, I live in Atlanta, in one of the suburbs outside of Atlanta. I'm not going to say where in case, you know, the fans that don't like the show are trying to find me. But it can offer so many things. I mean, I've lived in places where I'm used to saying, all right, what can we do? Now it's what will we do, because there's so many things to do. If I want to see a giraffe playing ping pong against a hippopotamus, I can probably find it in Atlanta. I really can. But how has that helped in recruiting? Because you guys can offer kids so much, not only an unbelievable education, one of the top degrees in the country, but you're in a place where there is a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah, it's almost like you've been listening to my recruiting spiel in person. One of the best things too, man, is we're right in the heart of Atlanta. No matter where you go or what school you're going to, in the Southeast, you're going to go at some point through Atlanta. So we've had so much traffic of big-time elite players, the bus tours, all of those things, the 7-on-7 teams coming through, and it's just the vibe at this place. I've got a bunch of tremendous people that are on my staff. A lot of them I've known for upwards of 20, 25 years, that there's a vibe, there's a sense of positivity, there's a work ethic, there's a belief system that exists, and how we all click together. We're not all alike. I don't have 40 Geoff Collinses running around this building. That would drive people nuts. Everybody fits in their role. Everybody gets along. Everybody has the same outlook on where we're going. And recruits come in here and they feel it. There are 30 Fortune 500 companies within a mile of our campus. We've got so many guys that are doing internships, getting real world experience in the community. There's a guy, the world headquarters of Coca-Cola is right there. Yep. We have a guy doing an internship there, and then all these other places that they can experience tremendous education, tremendous life after football. But we've got a culture and a team and a roster that's built to start making some noise in college football, and fired up about it. And the recruits come in here and they see it and they feel it, and they see all the things that can happen when you got a degree from this place and you play football in the heart of Atlanta, downtown Atlanta, it's an exciting time. It's almost an easy sell for what we've got that we can offer guys. And what we can do, what this place can do for each of these guys that choose to come here is ridiculous. It's unlike most places in college football.
Yeah, no doubt. And you know, we all talk about the wins and the losses and wanting to win championships, and everybody wants to do that. And you grind to win and grind to win, but you're setting up people for the rest of their lives. And at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. You're transforming guys' lives through sports and through athletics. And like you said, being able to send guys to some of the top brands to do internships, that can set you up just as much as, heck, you do well enough, you'll be making as much as guys in the league. So I think that's a great point. Speaking about roster, if you're trying to get your kid, son, daughter, prospect on a roster, you need to download the Dynasty U app right now. It's in the Google Play Store, anywhere you get your apps. It's like a LinkedIn for recruits. So you're not having to email a coach 20,000 times, send them 30,000 different things. It's all in one place. From academics to highlights, social media, it's concise. It's really easy. Like I said, it's the LinkedIn of recruiting. That's the Dynasty U app, and it's free right now, but you better download it before it's not free because, like I keep saying, it's getting downloaded at a very high rate, not just because of this show, because it's useful. Coaches love it as well. It's kind of a great coalition of coaches, prospects, parents, and everything like that. So make sure you download the Dynasty U app today. We're here with head Georgia Tech football coach Geoff Collins. Talk some culture, team identity, recruiting, being in the city of Atlanta. Coach, I want to switch gears a little bit now, and let's talk about going forward into the season. We finally had a spring practice. And before we get into some of the areas that you feel better about now in year 3 and all that stuff, how important is a spring practice? Last year, the craziness that ensued, some people got a couple in, some people didn't, but you mold your team in the spring and the summer. If you mold them by fall camp, it's too late. Am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a full winter program. We had a full, all of our workouts that we got, we actually extended it and made the spring practices a little bit later. But we got all 15 spring practices in. Last year we played with a true freshman quarterback, and Geoff did a tremendous job for us and is only going to get better. But he had 15 spring practices under his belt. I think he hit 90% completions in the spring game. Wow. And ran a 50-yard touchdown run on a zone read. And I think he hit 22 miles an hour at 6'4", 210 pounds. So getting those practices in was huge. Then we've got the entire team back Memorial Day, and they've been doing a great job. We had a leadership retreat last weekend, late Friday night, early Saturday morning, culture building, team building activities. We got 13 brand new guys in here in January.
Wow.
4 of which were offensive linemen to come in, 6'5", 6'6", tremendous guys to work with the best O-line coach in the country, Brent Key. And so the 13 new guys did a tremendous job buying into the culture, assimilating to the culture, elevating the culture, and to get them through was huge. Then we added 17 newcomers this past Sunday that have just started workouts, started going to school at Georgia Tech. And, it's an exciting time. Yeah. One of the transfers, Mike linebacker Ace Ayende, transferred in from the Big Ten after 4 months of being on campus, was elected and voted a captain for the spring game. Wow. Jeff Sims, our true freshman quarterback that started every game, was also selected as a captain for the spring game by his peers, along with Wanye Thomas and Ryan Johnson. So those are huge honors. We let our players vote on those things, and to see the amount of respect that they have in those guys. And there's so many more that got double-digit votes was really cool.
Yeah, and that's the stuff that wins on 4th and 1 and in the fourth quarter, that stuff like that. That's the difference. And it's always great when your quarterback and your Mike can be both elected team captains. That Mike's basically the quarterback of the defense, or at least the front 7. Nowadays, Coach, people have 3 different calls for secondary, inside, interior, whatever, D-line. But that's huge, and that's going to play a big role in close games down the stretch. Now, Coach, where were some spots in spring? You said you got 15 practices in. Where were some spots in spring that you wanted to see improvement, and you saw some improvement going into this season?
Yeah, so one of the big things is we were one of the most penalized teams in the ACC. We made a ridiculously big deal about that ever since we got back in January. Continue to do that. Pre-snap, post-snap penalties are the things that they kill drives. They extend drives if you're on defense. Limiting those things has been a huge priority. the confidence by our offense in what we're doing schematically, our rhythms, our cadences, our tempos, all of those things. And even for Geoff, too, we started a true freshman at quarterback. We started a true freshman at right tackle, and we started a true freshman running back. So some of those procedural things is just going through the offseason, making sure we have all of those things ironed out. Defensively, it was disjointed at times last year because all of our meetings were split up. We divided up the team. We kept separate, all of the things that you do in the era that we lived through last year. And I thought we played that way too. We played as a collection of the D ends and a collection of D tackles, not a D line, a collection of corners, a collection of safeties, not a secondary. And we really in the middle didn't have the cohesiveness. So just playing as one defensive unit, playing as a front four, playing as a back four, and generating pass rush and stopping the run has been huge emphasis for us.
Yeah, and again, knocking down those penalties and just letting the guys play. And again, you get that with youth, Coach. I mean, starting a true freshman quarterback, there's nothing harder. The hardest position to play, in my opinion, is quarterback. But if you're a true freshman coming in that league, because it ain't a walk in the park down there, you know that better than anybody. But you take your lumps, and like you said, I'm sure Geoff, 6'4", running at 22 miles per hour, they're going to put an airbag on that guy or something. I don't think you can be that big, running that fast, at least in a school zone. But, Coach, going in to the job and having we talked about the transformation of the triple option. And again, they had success with that or whatever, but it is a total overhaul. It's hard enough having to come into a place and bring in, your guys, maybe a little bit of differences, but changing that roster, and it takes a while. And I know Georgia Tech fans are smart, obviously, and they understand that. But how big of a challenge was that? Because you're not a guy that's going to get into the triple option or run the wing tee. You want to be able to be multiple and do different things that you have to be able to recruit nowadays.
Yes, I mean, we're 2 years in, and I think we've done a tremendous job transitioning those pieces. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. But just pure logistics. Yeah. We had running backs on scholarship when we got here, 0 tight ends, and so we've transitioned that. Throughout the thing, based out of a 3-4 before we got here, we're more 4 down front that will kick the odd, but we base out of a 4 down front. So just getting all those pieces in place, teaching them all of our schemes, having them feel comfortable. And I think we're on a really good track right now. Yeah. And it's time to take that next step and the next big step that I think this culture, this program, this roster is ready to take. I'm fired up about it.
Yeah, I mean, you encapsulated that perfectly. And the reason I asked that, Coach, because something I talk about on this show a lot as we kind of wind down, just a couple more questions for you here, is roster management. Because I don't think it gets talked about enough in college football. All we hear in the NFL is, well, this guy's signing here, and they got to do this with the roster, and the GM wants to draft this guy. And all they talk about is roster management and free agency. But in college football, the best coaches are the ones that can manage a roster, that can balance a roster where you're not losing too much at one time. How important is roster management in the pillars of being a successful program? It's got to be about as close to recruiting as you can get, correct?
It is huge, man. And just we've got spreadsheets and different layers that me and our general manager, Patrick Suttis, go through. Mm-hmm. I learned it from Coach Saban when I was his recruiting coordinator at the University of Alabama when we first got here, is we have copies. Here's the number you need for this. Here's the number you need for this. Ideal numbers at each position, and managing that when the previous was not set up at all with that system in place, but making sure we did not want to take shortcuts. We did not want to take the easy way. We wanted to build this thing the right way, and it's going to take time, and it has, but the quality pieces that we've got in place, the strength staff that is developing those pieces, the unselfish nature of the guys that were in the program when we came in and helped us adjust on the fly. They were tremendous in how we transitioned, and just ridiculously proud. The guys that have played here in the past, the guys that were here the first 2 years, helped us transition, building the culture, establishing the foundation. They mean so much to me and to us as a program. And we were just so blessed and lucky we had them while we had them to help us get to where we are right now. And, they're part of the family. They're legends of the Flats now. And embracing the guys that have been here from all eras. I tried to hire somebody from every era of Georgia Tech football to be on the staff so they could teach our current players what it's like to be a tech man and all the things that you need to do to be elite at this institution, but also to connect to the legends that have played here in the past. That is a big deal to me as a lifelong Georgia Tech, fan and follower, and now as the head coach to be in this position is huge.
Yes, sir. And my last question, I just want to give you a chance. We got a lot of Georgia Tech fans that watch this show and reach out to us on social media, stuff like that. I know they're super pumped about this interview. I've had them asking me. What is your message to Georgia Tech fans going into 2021? Because I'm looking at you guys. I know you're hungry. I know you have you got some dudes in there, like you mentioned, and y'all ain't afraid of a damn soul in that league.
Yes, man, this could be when Todd Stansberry and our athletic department announced that we were going to be 100% capacity Bobby Dodd Stadium. I am so fired up to get our fans back, to support our guys, to give positive energy. I absolutely love our fan base, the history, the traditions, the unique things that we do that are special to college football. Downtown Atlanta, Bobby Dodd Stadium, supporting our guys, giving positive vibes, and just how hard our guys work at such an elite institution and playing at such a high level. I just appreciate our fans so much that they're behind our guys, they're with our guys, and encouraging them to be able to take that next step in the realm of college football back to the place that we need to be and should be.
Definitely, and I know it's one big family over there, and y'all want to move as one organism. Coach, I'm excited as hell for you, man, to watch you guys. I really appreciate you taking some time. I know recruiting's open, and it's not scrambling right now, but it's a lot, plus the portal, which I know has been super interesting. Would love to get you back on as we get closer to the season, brother. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that Georgia Tech white and gold being front and center.
Yes, sir.
Stay that way in perpetuity. So just and I need one of them hoodies too, my man.
Hey, I got you. You want a gray one or a black one? I'll have one sent over to you today.
I think both is a good answer.
That's a great. I tell you, it's a smart man. Coach Collins, you're a smart man. You're going to get both. We'll get your size. I'll talk to Mike too. Really appreciate the gear you dropped on us, and best of luck to you, Coach. I know you guys are going to do your thing. I appreciate you guys joining us as well. Head to the jboyshow.com. Grab some merch. Coach Collins is going to be rocking it. Little jersey swap action. Also subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're taking this game over. One of the top rising, whether it's SEC, college sports shows out there. We're going to keep doing it, helping you win the water cooler. It's been another edition of the Jboy Show with head Georgia Tech football coach Geoff Collins. And like Jeff Sims when he breaks the pocket, we're gone.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, technical director Dave Hammock, creative director David Culbertson, audio engineer Feyzan Shareef, production assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, executive producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.